In this video, I'm going to build a custom Lego spaceship for my made-up Star Wars character. I wanted this spaceship to have a Star Wars design to it, as well as many play features as possible. So what better than to use something Lego already had built as the platform for this build. So before hopping on to Bricklink Studio, I started looking for a good platform to build on through the Lego website. Enter the V19 torrent. For the most part, I really like how LEGO designed and built this and thought it would be a great platform to build and add upon. Once I chose the V19, I started building the main body of the ship, with the exception of these gears. I'll explain those in a moment. For the play features, LEGO has made two variants of the V19 torrent, one in 2008 and the other this year, which I based from both. The two main features that I really liked from the 2008 V19 was the cockpit mechanism and the wing mechanism. I liked the landing mechanism as well, but I wasn't able to implement that into the build. Now, I don't own a 2008 V19 to see how the mechanisms work and how they're built, but thankfully LEGO has the instructions online, which I was able to see and come up with the build and all that. For the cockpit opening mechanism, it was really easy to implement into. It was pretty much just copy and paste with just a few differences. Here are the internal components of how the opening mechanism works. It's pretty simple. This is how the V19 instructions had them, just with a few differences to make it fit into this model. Now the wings weren't as easy to work with. The 2008 V19 uses these kinds of gears for the wing mechanism for that model. I couldn't figure out how to make these gears work into the new V19 without changing too much of the original design. And after some time trying to figure out how to make these gears work with no success, I decided to see if someone had already done something similar online. I ended up finding this video from this channel which goes into detail for the gearing mechanism for the V19 wings. The link to this video is in the description. By the way, that video did have a rebrickable link for the wing mechanism, but at the time of making this video, that link wasn't working. I tried to apply what was shown in the video into the virtual mock with some differences, but I ended up changing a lot of it anyways when I was physically building it, because the wings of my ship have the opposite movement than the V19's. That's why the physical mock looks a little different from the virtual one. After hours of building, unbuilding, and rebuilding, I finally finished the spaceship. Now I'm going to be showing all the play features that this build has. Starting from the front. If I push down here, the front lifts, and there's a small blaster. I don't know how well you're able to see that. And then if I push the other way, the cockpit windshield slides forward and lifts up. And I'm able to put my minifigure in there. The other play feature, some of these are much simpler, not as crazy as the other ones, is the control unit. Moves up and down to seat the minifigure. The other one right here, and this is from the 2025 V19, nothing special. There's a type of handle right there. I don't know if the camera will capture this right, but basically those are tracker shooters, something similar like Obi-Wan used. Now for the crown jewel, it's the wing mechanism. So very similar. So this is the flight mode of the spaceship. And when it's about to land, the rear tail goes down and then the wings go up. It's supposed to land like that. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to come up with landing legs. I will most likely work on that later. And I'll explain the wings too here in a little bit. But if I turn this around, here you can see a little bit of how everything works. This is what I ended up using, and I will do a comparison now with the V19. So here's that, and here's the V19. Now, I guess for a review on this, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it work with these ball joints because the clamping force was too strong. Every time I moved the tail wing or the tail end of the ship, it would always end up breaking. These bricks would separate. So I had to remove the ball joints here, similar to here. That's the downside. When I shake this, the wings don't really move compared to mine. They move, but I don't really have a choice. Uh, it's the best way I could make it work. I may put some things right here later to stabilize the wings so they don't wiggle so much. Here's more of the downsides. It's technically not finished. Like I said, the wing still needs worked on so it can land properly. For the most part, it's a pretty solid build. It won't fall apart so easily. It does have some weak points, one of them being the front. I tried, but I couldn't get it to do it any better without this, but with this staying flushed. And if I push down here, it pops off. But that's one of the downsides. I'd have to come up with a better way to structure the front so it's not so weak. And everything else is pretty solid. There's hardly any moving or loose parts. The other thing that's kind of a downside, on paper it looks cool black, but once I built it, you can probably see all the smudges and scratches. It just gets dirty really easily. I'm kind of having second thoughts. I probably should have done it white because white's a lot harder to tell. It looks a lot cleaner and newer, so to speak. Even though this is technically new, all the pieces, it just looks aged, like the pieces looked aged. But overall, it was a pretty fun build, and I think it was a very good addition to the character story arc. Let me know what you think of the build. Also, if you want other things you would like to see being built, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.